All right, welcome back to Double Fries No Slog. Going to chat a little soccer today with Coach Brian Pensky and FSU soccer player Mimi Van Zanten. Guys, I appreciate you for taking some time and joining me today.
Thanks for having us on, TJ. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're really excited.
The yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. We'll just start with this. You guys had me nervous in that first half. I'm not gonna lie. But that's a good place to start, right? Like, it is very difficult to beat, really anyone in the ACC, but certainly, when you're playing a powerhouse and you're playing them for a second time, and you're trailing at halftime. Like, how much nerves are there? We'll start with Mimi. How much nerves are there in that situation, or are you able to just kind of like, hey, trust the process? We've been here before. We'll be fine. Or do some of those nerves start to really kick in?
Yeah, for sure. I know that the team, like going into the game and playing through the game and being down for a little bit, there was definitely some nerves, but we all had confidence in one another and we had a game plan and knew what our end goal was. And as long as we all put 120% effort into the game, we knew that we would come out with a win. So.
Coach, on your end, do you, when you're trailing at halftime, like, what is your style? Are you a big rah rah guy, like in the locker room? Like, are you giving like a win one for the Gipper, or like what's your turnaround? What's your message there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it all varies. We always watch about 4 or 5 or 6 little video clips at halftime, and so Sunday was no different. We watched those, and then we always ask. My assistant Bobby kind of runs that, and he always asks before. He's like, "What'd y'all think?" And Carissa Beckman, who plays center midfield for us, she said they were beating us to all first and second balls. And then Bobby showed his clips, and then I usually finish up and share some thoughts and whatever. And I don't remember. I think I might have said 1 or 2 things from a tactical standpoint, but basically I just echoed what Carissa Beckman said. I said, look, we would have been lucky. I told them, I said, we would have been lucky to get in here 1-1, right? Because they were all over us and they were the more aggressive team. I said, we have to be, and we use this word, we have to be more violent, right? They were the more violent team. We've got to step our degree of violence up. Here we are, we're down 2-1. So whatever, we just got to come back now and win the game 3-2. But we've got to be us. And that's honestly, there was no real tactical adjustment there. It was just, come on, ladies, like you guys are freaking tough sons of bitches. Just go be yourselves, right? And they kind of they changed their shape. They didn't play like we thought they were going to play, and honestly, they tried to do to us in that first half what we did to them here, and
Yeah.
they were pretty good at it, right? And so we were on our heels a little bit, right? And so it was just like, look, let's go compete our freaking asses off and see what happens. And obviously, it came out on the right end.
How hard is it to? I mean, like, I think people take for granted, Coach, like winning 5 in a row. Like, I think
Totally.
I've talked with Brooke about this at Beach, and just said, like, I think people take for granted how hard it truly is. I've asked Lonnie this too, because they just win. You guys just win over and over and over and over again.
Totally.
And I think fans get complacent, like, oh, well, we're FSU, we're just going to win the ACC. Like, that's just
Totally.
what we do here. And it's how hard is it? Is it hard to not let that set into the team too?
It's weird dynamic. I think those standards and those expectations drive us to such a crazy degree and a high level that they hold us to an incredibly high level and an unfair level, right? Because, like you're saying, I mean, 5 in a row, and I talked through it yesterday with our team because our team, they don't have much perspective. They see the last 5 years of Florida State soccer, and this program in the last 5 years, I think, has lost 6 games, 7 games. That's absurd, right? And I literally wrote on the board yesterday. I wrote Notre Dame, and then I wrote Duke, and I said those are 2 phenomenal soccer programs. They haven't won any ACC tournament championships, right? And then I wrote underneath that, I wrote 2012. I said, that's the last time Virginia won an ACC tournament championship. And that's another phenomenal soccer program, right? And we're talking, those are all top 10 RPI teams right now as we sit here and speak, right? Maybe Notre Dame's 12 right now in the RPI. Phenomenal teams that have never won it, right? So this program's won, like, I don't know, I think 11 out of 14 and five in a row. Mid 2010s, they won four in a row and then took a break for a year or two. And now we've won five in a row. It's not normal. And our
Yeah.
players, yeah, our fans need to know it. But most importantly, our players need to know that what they are doing is not normal.
Yeah. You guys went over a calendar year, maybe without lose. Like the program went over a year without losing a game, and then dropped a couple through the middle of the season. I know there were a lot of girls coming back from playing for their country and stuff, but when we got into ACC play, dropped a couple to good programs, right? Like, no real issue there. But do you think something changed? Do you like sometimes like when a quarterback goes out and throws an interception early, like he kind of locks in for the rest of the game, or a boxer gets punched in the face? Like, do you feel like things changed after dropping a couple of games?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that those games really allowed for us to see what things we needed to work on together as a team. So those games might have hurt us a little bit in the moment. I mean, for me, especially because I haven't lost a college game until those two games. So it was really hard mentally to get over, but we knew that we wanted to get to the ACC tournament and we had to lock in. We had to do whatever it took to get to where we wanted to be. And that was kind of everybody's mindset going into that. And I think that really helped us grind through and get to where we got to.
Yeah, Mimi is, you know, there's all the stuff she's talked about, and then we also changed, right? We changed how we played. This program's been a 4-3-3 for a lot of years, and after that Virginia Tech loss, we changed to a 3-5-2. And Mimi's been very much, and actually TJ was at our USF game, so you saw Mimi scored a goal in that game. With her left foot up on the left flank, and she's got four goals this season as a defending player. She loves to attack, but really, Mimi in her heart of hearts, she's a freaking animal. She's a freaking warrior, and she loves to just literally kill people. Okay, and it's funny. She was in my office last week, and we were talking as a staff about. I wonder if Mimi. So we changed from a four back where she was playing as a left back and getting forward to a three back, and basically three center backs that pretty much just stay home and defend. And so Mimi has become one of those, and we are kind of like, I wonder if Mimi doesn't like having to stay home now and not attack. And she was at my office last week talking about something, and I was like, how do you like it? And she just like freaking ear to ear grinning, and just because she likes to absolutely annihilate people and defend. And we have played, and we told our team this stretch, we were 2-2-1 in the league after that road trip you're talking about. And then, and including the ACC tournament, we're now 9-2-2 in the league. And that's against a whole bunch of top 12 RPI teams. And so Mimi and her others have had to play against really high level attacking players. And so that weekend you're referring to, we were leaking goals and we were kind of little girls, defensively, and just a problem. And so Mimi and then Heather Gilchrist, who was away playing for the U.S. U20s, and then another player named Cam Simmons, who we pulled to the back. The three of them are three center backs. And now we can play against any team knowing that we've got three freaking women in the center of the back that will look to kill someone if they try to get close to our goal.
So, Mimi, I'm a big, everybody's got their favorite professional players or whatever. And I'm a huge Messi guy. And so watching a couple of years ago in the World Cup, watching that come down to penalties, I really like, and I'm kind of a pessimist, like expect the worst and hope for the best. So your heart doesn't get ripped out. And when this thing goes to penalties in the semifinal, I mean, shout out to Addie, of course, and obviously the goal scorers too. But how nervous are you? And then also like, knowing that you have Addie there and the way that she stepped up, how impressive was that?
I mean, obviously, there's going to be some nerves going into PK because a lot of the time it can go either way, no matter who the better team was. But I had faith in our team. We've been working on PKs and stuff, and we just have great players who can finish the ball really well. And so I had a lot of faith in my teammates to finish their shots, which they did. And I mean, Addie's just fantastic. I mean, amazing saves, and I'm like not surprised one bit with that. She works her butt off and has really good composure in those situations. So um, I'm really happy for her that she performed the way that she deserved to perform in the PKs. So definitely nervous, but um, at the end of it all, I mean, I had faith in all of my teammates to do their jobs, and they did. So
Coach, having to, Christina was here for feels like forever, and having to go to a new keeper this year. Just thoughts around, I think fans, somewhat casual fans or fans that aren't maybe in tune with the entire roster, think like, oh no, we're losing the best keeper in college, soccer the last 5 years. Like, what is that going to look like afterward? And can you talk about Addie a little bit too?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Christina Roque, 4 college cups, right? Four ACC tournament championships, a whole lot of PK shootouts in there, 2 national championships, um, and so who's next? And like Mimi just said, Addie has a lot of composure, and Addie has a lot of confidence. Addie has a little bit of Roque in her. In term, I mean, Roque had she's you might be old enough. You know George Gervin. How old are you, TJ?
I never watched him live, but I do know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, right. And he was Mimi. He played for the San Antonio Spurs back in the day, and they called him the Iceman. They said he had ice in his veins, right? And that was Roque, right? Like behind the scenes, I would call her George Gervin, right? And no pulse kind of thing. And Addie's got a little bit of that. Very very calm, right? And very composed, very confident, and and she's good with her feet like Roque. So there's been a little bit of a as seamless as possible transition there. But then she's also starting to grow up and have some courage. I mean, she screamed to me second half, we're down 2-1, and we have a corner kick, and she's literally screaming to me a player that she wants me to put on, who wasn't on the field. She's like, we need Rihanna right now, right? And so, and you love that, right? And I've said it all my years of coaching, right? And Rihanna winds up scoring the game-winning goal, right? All my years of coaching, I always say the best teams are run by the players, right? They're player-led, they're player-run, because those are the ones who make plays, right? They're the ones who lead. They're the ones who have to, like you're talking about. It's halftime. It's second half. You're down. Where's the brain going, right? Where's the brain going? Is the brain going to dark places? Is the team going to dark places? Or are we together and we coming through with this? So when she's sitting here yelling at us about who to put on the field, that shows more than anything that the kid's got gumption, right?
Yeah.
She's got courage in that moment to voice that, right? It's one thing to think it, it's a whole nother thing to voice it. And so I was really proud of her for for having that gumption in that moment.
All right, so on Friday night, now Samford comes to town, and I know that it's a very much one game season for 6 times, right? You have to be completely locked in on that one opponent because it is win or go home at this point. But at this point, I don't know what the team goals were discussed before the season. I think I have a pretty good idea of what they were, and we talked about expectations pretty early in the year. But now you're starting to maybe see that path of like, hey, we've taken care of business. We've done what we needed to do to get here. And now it's time to lock in. And, I love and hate the comments that the ESPN, commentators talk when they talk about them and saying that the ACC is tougher than, the ACC tournament can sometimes be tougher than the NCAA tournament, which, probably is fair and is true until you get to Cary and there's 3 ACC teams there. And then it just becomes a mini ACC tournament. But, how much, nothing really changes, I would assume, from like a prep perspective, but what changes now that you're in the NCAA tournament, or does everything really stay pretty much the same, Coach?
Yeah, honestly, it really stays the same. And, you go back to last year, it was the same thing. And it's about the game, and it's about the soccer game. And we rarely, and, Mimi, interject as you like, but like, we don't really talk about the event. We don't talk about what the game is. We don't talk about it's a semifinal, it's a final, it's Sweet 16. It's a soccer game, and that's always our focus. Who's our opponent? What do they do? What do we need to do? How do we beat this team? And that's it. And I think years ago, as a coach, I used to make that mistake and talk a lot about the event, right, and what's on the line or things like that. And those are all just distractions, right? All that matters is the next moment, right, and the things that you need to do to win a game. And I even told our team yesterday, right? The bracket came out, and so everybody kind of reacts, and understandably so. We're all human, right? That Carolina's in our bracket, right? They're in our, and so everybody's thinking, okay, well, if we get that far, we got to play them a third time to get to a college cup. And we talked to said, we don't need to. Our brains don't need to go there. That's just a waste of time. All that matters right now is Sanford. They're coming here on Friday. I did not mention this to our team, but I will tomorrow. Right? Last year's reigning national champions was UCLA. Right? On this Friday, 1 year ago, they lost first round UC Irvine. All that matters is Sanford. Nothing else matters.
Mimi, how hard is it to put that into play? Or like you played in national championships, you played in college cups, won ACCs, played against rivals, whatever, right? Like all those events that coach talks about. How hard is that to actually put into practice? Or is it really not that hard? When the whistle sounds, you just play. How do you clear your mind of thinking about how big that event is?
I feel like for the team, since we do focus in on only one team and the next game and not necessarily everything that comes after that, I feel like as soon as that game starts, we just have a lot of trust in our coaching staff and that we were prepared enough for the game. And a lot of that, again, is just trust of the practice that we've been doing and really just focusing on um, putting into play what we've been practicing. So.
All right, we'll have some fun with this one. I'm sure that, your nutrition and strength coaches like have you on pretty tight regimented stuff, especially, running as much as you guys do. I won't ask about going forward, but I will ask you, like last year, like what's your ultimate like celebration fun meal? Like you've been withholding from this for like 5 months of training. Like where you go just for like the worst food that's like terrible for you and you wouldn't do it on a game week, but like we just won, so I'm going to do it. Like what is that for you?
Oh
Coach, you can
gosh.
answer that too when she's done.
Um, for me personally, I love burgers. I any burger place really. Yeah, yeah. Don't tell E, Coach E. But
I'm not gonna get you in trouble,
yeah,
but I do. I'll tell you. All right, if you haven't been to Birds, I'm a big fan of Birds burgers. So
I don't think
you
I have
probably
been.
have, but
Huh. I
it's
will tell
the
you that last year after we won um, in December, maybe there was some food intake. However, there was some other intaking to where, like, about four days later, our whole team dropped dead sick
oh,
from everybody's coming out with colds and coughs because they were celebrating, having a good time. But they know that that's when, right? That's
sure.
when. All right, right. It's not about now. It's not about during the season. We win at a high level and then we enjoy it.
I'll wrap up with this, but you guys do a great job of really packing the Plex out, and there are so many faithful and loyal supporters that come out and shoot. There was a really good number of Florida State fans here in Tampa when I came to the game at USF. And what is that? What is that fan support, Coach, and then Mimi? We can kind of roundabout here, but what's that fan support mean? Like just knowing that this is one of the top environments in not just college soccer, but really college athletics. The Plex does a great job.
Oh, it's everything. I mean, we made a big deal about it going into our Notre Dame quarterfinal game last weekend and trying to get a lot of people out. And so much so, and we're good friends with Nate at Notre Dame, and actually Mimi's sister Kiki played for Nate at Notre Dame, and we're talking right before the game, and I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just so excited to. And last year we smashed them 4-1 here, right? And he's like, "Oh, nothing better than just being back here in Tallahassee." I just was so excited we got to come here and play another game against you guys. And he's funny about it. He's open and honest. He's like, "This is just miserable. It's just terrible, right?" And the crowd is great. It's intimate. It's packed. It's loud. It's a hard place to play. And so when you look at like the draw and okay, well, that's a good team. This is a good team. What are we going to face? All that. All of a sudden, you have a little bit of a deeper breath because it's right here, right out my window, and in front of all of our fans, and our kids get so much energy off of them. In that Notre Dame game, that was a big game. It was a quarterfinal game. We are trying to play for the right to go to Cary, right? And so the fans are intense. They didn't like some of the referees' calls, and the fans are all over the refs. Just people know what they're talking about. They know what they're looking at, and Mimi's on the field, so she knows better than I do, but means a lot to our team. And here we are, we're playing in the ACC final 2 days ago, and you look up across the stands, and there's a great little section there of Garnet, but then there are about 8 sections around it of Carolina blue, right?
Yeah.
Which we talked about before the game. It's going to make winning all the more enjoyable, right? Because they're all going to be quiet, but there's a difference. And now, got a lot of things that have to happen before we would play Carolina if they're fortunate enough to get there and we're fortunate enough to get to that round. But to know that we would be doing it here in front of our home crowd, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe any thoughts there to add?
Yeah. I mean, playing at home is amazing. You cannot go like one single moment without hearing the crowd cheering for you. Every little play, every like good play, every good pass, they're always cheering and like supporting you. And it's just amazing. The energy is so high constantly. And at least for me, it gives me a little bit of a boost knowing that I have a few thousand people behind me, and like just playing at home is amazing. I love it. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, no, it's always a fun environment, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can get a couple more of these at home, and then if that matchup, coach, that you're talking about happens, I will be in town then. So let's make sure that does happen. I appreciate you guys both a ton. I know you're busy. I know it's a big week with a lot going on, but I appreciate you guys a ton for taking some time, and we obviously wish you the best of luck on Friday night and then moving forward after that as well.
Well, thank you, TJ. I really appreciate all your support and your efforts last weekend trying to get people out to that Notre Dame game, and it means a lot to us, man. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys take care and go Noles.
Yep.
Go Noles.
Go Noles.